How hard is it to install a 6-string Evertune bridge in a guitar? Let's see. A lot of templates, a lot of drilling, a lot of routing. Sounds like a challenge. I love a challenge. Let's start the next project. Okay, so let's take a quick look at finding the stuff we need. You can buy not only the Evertune itself, but you can buy templates to do your own routing and cutting and mischief. Or you can go to the install resources area, download some files. You can get PDFs, DXF, step files, all sorts of cool stuff. So you can either make your own templates with some of these, or at least understand what you need to do when you decide to start cutting into your guitar. So let's take a look at today's patient, sorry, I always say that. We have a $50 Goodwill Ibanez Geo guitar. Now, wait a minute, you're right. I don't know, why would I do this to a $50 Ibanez Geo guitar? Well, if you've watched the channel before, you know why I do these things. Well, really, you know that there is no good reason for the reason that I do these things. That makes no sense. Yep, that's my reasoning. So anyway, I'm giving the guitar a quick once-over just to see what is really wrong with it, and actually it's a pretty nice $50 guitar. So I start taking the strings off and I run into some strange things. And what do we have here? Boing. That's not good. Oh, what's this? Boing. Oh my goodness. Well, that would impact your tuning stability, that's for sure. So let's just finish taking this thing apart, get everything off it that we don't need, everything that's going to be in the way of drilling holes and routing holes and doing all that cool fun stuff. We got some wiring to hack out of here. I'm actually thinking about, maybe I should save it. I don't know. I think I'll replace it, but let's take it out carefully. Oh, neat. Pickups that are made out of plastic. Alright, we've got our project started. We have all of the hardware removed except for the neck. We left that on so we could verify the actual scale length of the neck, not what we think it is, but what it actually is. Measuring from the face of the nut to the 12th fret. And I actually put a note right on the fingerboard of what that was, and arrows pointing to the measurement location. We also found the center line of the neck. And I made sure the neck was aligned in the body, wasn't leaning this way or that way. I want to make sure it was in its neutral position. Put some protective tape on the face of the guitar, transferred my center line from the neck onto the body, and I used sewing thread for that. I do have a laser that I've used, but I really find the laser gives me a very wide line to choose from. You have to figure out what the center of that line is, and it's like a millimeter and a half wide laser line, where sewing thread is like 1/10 of that. But use what you have. If you got a laser and you love it, use it. Got that all done. Ran straight edge along the edges, the high E and the low E side of the neck, and transferred some trajectory lines of the neck back onto the body. Also found my scale length from the 12th fret, transferred that onto the body. Ran a square and transferred my line square to the center line for the scaling, so we're good there. What else did we do? Let's see. Took the neck off, which was a bit of a surprise. This has the 4 little countersunk ferrules, screw ferrules in it, which are like a really thick washer that's countersunk, so the head sinks into it a bit. Well, these had like 3 washers underneath each one of those little ferrules. So when the neck was tightened down, those little individual ferrules were being pulled down into the body, probably getting recessed too far. Okay, now we have got our center line, our scale length line. We're ready for template number 1, which we will be mounting to the face of the guitar, drilling 4 holes, not 4 or 4, but 4 holes. Those are our primary mounting holes for the bridge. They're also the primary alignment holes for front to back templates. But once we get those 4 in, we flip the guitar over, we put our template on the back, and we drill 6 holes that will be used to mount the back plate on. Those 6 little holes are also used for alignment of templates that go on the back. So we're kind of doing 2 steps together. front drilling for alignment holes, then back drilling for alignment holes. Then we move on to routing. But first, let's get some holes drilled and continue the next project. Now, you can do all of this with a hand drill if you are very talented and able to drill perfectly perpendicular holes to your surface. I'm not that guy, so I used a drill press, and it makes really a big difference. You want to make sure that those 4 holes there go straight through the body from front to back. That really helps you get everything aligned. Now we're drilling out the 6 screw holes basically for the back cover plate, which are actually used to locate the routing templates that go on the back. So that's pretty important. Here we go, we're getting ready to route from the front. This is our template number 2, actually. The first template I made was just for the drill holes. The second one is actually a routing template in my world. And we're using some of the Evertune instructions to know how deep we need to go and where it needs to be and all that good stuff. So study the instructions, it will help. Used a Forstner bit to clear away some of the lumber just so I didn't have to route it all away. Different kind of mess. And using a small palm router or a laminate router. There we go. I don't know what those things called. I am using a small mortise bit, kind of bit you might use for doing door hinges or such things. It's a shallow cut bit, 1/2 inch diameter, has a bearing with it. So the bearing will ride on the template and the bit will cut away. And as we cut deeper into the body, the bearing actually rides in the area we've routed away within the body and not on the template. Pretty simple, and we're checking our progress as we go. That's looking pretty good. We've got it down at 1 inch, which is about all we need. So we're about ready for the next step. Flipped the guitar over and installed some 1/16 inch drill bits into the 4 outer holes that we drilled in the back. Those holes are also the back cover mounting holes. And checking the instructions, seeing how deep we need to make some routes. I put notes right on there. I actually had to make a spacer template to go on top of my number 3 template. This is just so when I use that bit, the bearing actually has a place to ride because this is such a shallow cut. My 1/4 inch template wasn't deep enough for the bearing to actually hit it. What? Just believe me, that's the way it went. Moving back to the drill press and a mortise bit to hog away some of the extra wood for the big back, well, one of the big back routings. This just saves my router bit a little bit of work, and it's easier to sweep up the big chips than it is all the fine dust that comes off the router. Doing this routing in a number of progressive passes, taking off, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch at a time. Working our way down to the bottom of where we had used the Forstner bit, and we'll end up smoothing that out and then opening up the hole all the way through the body here pretty shortly. Oh, there we go. We're carving. I had just a thin little piece left. Now we're cleaning it up. And it's starting to look promising. Not bad for an amateur. Getting ready for our template number 4, routing from the back, again using 4 1/16 inch drill bits located in the outer holes on the back, and checking how deep I need to route things, what I'm doing, always checking the instructions.
And back to the drill press, gonna hog away a little bit more material. I did set a depth stop on this just so I wouldn't accidentally cut away too much material. There we go. Now we're routing. Now we're making fine sawdust.
All right, the routing is going really well. We have all of our holes drilled front and back, our first, second, third, and fourth template routing done. We've got to the great big swimming pool route following the Evertune routing procedures. And I have one more route to do, and it is a deeper cut right in this area, kind of the back 2/3 of this bigger section we just routed out. And I was getting ready to put my template on there. I was like, did I do the process wrong? I'm thinking routing this smaller hole last is a little bit backwards, but maybe it's just me. I was born breech, so I do everything backwards, right? We've discussed this before. So I went back and I checked the Evertune routing procedure guide that they have for this. And then I went back and I downloaded it again onto my phone, thinking that maybe I printed it out wrong, got something screwed up. Sure enough, they have us routing this big swimming pool size area first, which leaves 8/5 hundredths, 21.6 millimeter of material left right here. And then we're supposed to take this smaller cut out of it back here. And that's simple enough to think about it and just go, okay, sure, yeah, okay. But I was getting ready to put this template on, and I realized I have nothing for my pattern bit to ride against up in here, only the template. So to get this final cut, I have to do a couple things. I either need a bit that is the exact depth that I need so the bearing will ride on the template. So I'll need a 1.5 inch deep cut bit, something like that. Or I'll have to put a fence of sorts in here and use the template and that taped in fence to get the depth of my final cut. So I already have my templates made, but I'm going to find a piece of material and stick inside of the existing route to finish my routing and look for a bit that's the right depth. I probably don't have one, so I'd have to. Anyway, we're going to figure that out as we go, as we continue to the next project.
We are doing a little bit of rasp work using a Shinto rasp to cut an angle into the bottom surface of our new routing. The Shinto rasp is kind of, it's like a hacksaw blade rasp, basically. Comes in pretty handy. If you've never used one before, you probably were like me and go, I don't need that. Then when you get one and use it, you're like, wow, that thing's pretty handy. I'll probably use that a lot. Here I am cleaning up a little bit of the final work, pulling the tape off, going, yeah, I think I did all right. Job well done.
Okay, the routing is all done, and in general it went very well. Their template design worked out well. I did make my own templates, as we may or may not see. All the MDF templates are mine. Evertune does sell templates. They're acrylic templates. I think they might have inserts for some of the drilling. There might be room for a routing procedure change, as I visited about. Maybe this routing should happen before this routing. But maybe they have a reason for that based on certain guitar types. This is a double humbucker. Maybe if you're doing a swimming pool strat, things will be different, or a triple route strat. I don't know. What else would I change? Oh, I probably should have plugged a couple of the little bridge mounting old screw holes. It's all covered. It won't matter, but it's one of those little detail things that I see it and my eye twitches a little bit. It's like, oh, what's going on with that? Why didn't that get fixed? Otherwise, it looks really good. The routing turned out nice and clean. This is very soft wood, so it routed really well. That was a pleasurable experience. The bevel we put in here went really well. The Evertune instructions say use a Dremel type tool to bevel this back, and that's just so you have clearance when you're sliding everything in, it will fit. I ended up using a Shinto rasp, which is kind of like a hacksaw type blade that's turned into a rasp. Pretty nice. So we're going to get that together. The neck will go back on it. We're going to string it up and learn how to tune an Evertune as we continue the next project. We have reached the end of the scope of this video, but really what's next is to string up, tune, and intonate the bridge. And there is a great resource on the Evertune website that does just that. It takes you through step by step how to do all this. And it may look a little intimidating, but don't let that scare you. Read through it a couple times if you have to, and then practice it. Once you get it under your belt, you're going to have it. It won't be a big deal. And remember, once you get this done, you are forever tuned. Ba-dum-bum-cha. Oh boy, that was bad.